What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Welcome, 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 and welcome, welcome, welcome again. Welcome to Trailblazers Radio. Most importantly, welcome to the check-in. This is a show that we talk about all things mental health. Now, mind you, disclaimer right now: I am not a mental health professional. I am not a clinical I'm not a clinical social worker. I am not a psychologist, nor am I a psychiatrist. I am just an individual who has experiences that could possibly be transferable and be relatable to you. So I just want to throw that out there. But I also want to extend a big welcome to our Trailblazer Radio family. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for just being here. Thank you for just being who you are to us. We most definitely appreciate that, and we definitely appreciate you for taking the time out of your Wednesday evening. Excuse me, to hang out with me tonight. I promise I'm not going to be before you guys very long, but I do want to talk about something that is very very that I feel I really want to talk about. Um, but before we do that, I want to continue to let you guys know to continue to like us on all our social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Um, as well as we have a Linktree page. We also have a website, www.trailblazerradio.net. Um, So make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms. Also where we are. We're also everywhere that we are. We also audio stream. We also have audio. We also stream on all audio streaming platforms: Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. You name it. You name it. We're more than likely on it. So follow us. So follow us also there. So follow us on those two, man. Make sure you check us out on those streaming platforms. And make sure you just do a like or a share or subscribe. We're doing another favor, doing another solid. We're on YouTube. We're still on the road to 100 subscribers, man. Do me a solid, guys. Check out our YouTube channel. Take a look at some of our videos, some of the things that we do, and if our content is something that resonates with you, do me a favor, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It really does help out the channel, and it really does help us out. Help us out too. Make sure that you also continue to like and follow our host, Co- our host LHG, Coco Fenton, Quint Jones. Man, these are fantabulous ladies that are doing fantastic things. Um, LHG with her Girl Chat Tuesdays and her critical conversations. Coco and Quint always coming through with the My Life at Where My Life Has Destiny podcast, and they're always dropping dimes and dropping gems. So make sure you like and follow these ladies on their various social media platforms as well. And we will most definitely want to thank you, the listeners, the viewers, the people who follow us, the people who share our content. Because without you guys, this doesn't go down. And most definitely without God, this doesn't go down. This most definitely doesn't go down. So, excuse me. Want to talk about something that I thought about for a while, and I and I wrote a poem to it, but I'll recite the poem toward the end. So the topic tonight, you probably see it flashing on your screen. It's called course correction. Now you're probably thinking like, what is he talking about? Or what is he talking about? Well, how about I ask this question? Have you ever you we're all on a path. Have you ever thought the path that you were on was the intended or was the correct path? Did you ever feel that you had to correct your course? Did you ever feel that you had to make a correction to your course? Did you ever feel like you needed to correct your course? So that's what we're going to talk about. Gonna talk about course correction and the need to do it, and the need to do it, and the reason why it's important, why it is important. So one of the things that we don't think of, one of the things that we don't think about when we launch out into the uncharted waters of of life is correcting our course. Correcting our course. Why do we not think about that? Well, for the most part, we think the course that we're traveling on is the correct and right course. We think that course is a course that's going to lead us to where we need to be, or going to lead us to where we need to be, in the direction and the direction of where we want to go. Oftentimes we think that the course that we set is one that's already been that's on that has already been predetermined for us. And I think a lot of us have realized the unfortunate part of that life is not a predetermined or preset course. There are hills, there are valleys, there are deep, there are rough roads, there are smooth roads, then there's intermediate roads. There are one road high, there are one roadway, there are two-lane highway, and there are multi-lane highway. So we never think about correcting our course. We never think about changing our direction. We never think about putting ourselves on what we would consider the correct course, because sometimes we think that the correct course is the course that we're currently traveling on. And in some cases that's true, and then in some cases that's not true, or it can be subject to interpretation. So, and I want to break this down in a couple of ways. I want to look at I want to take want to look at it as, number one, the course on the path that we currently travel. And then I also want to look at the factors that would make us that would have us to consider a course correction, and also some of the that would make us either consider or force us to make a course correction. So in most cases, the courses or the paths that we travel are mostly paths that we set out for ourselves, which is normally based upon based upon our hopes and our dreams and whatever stated goals that we have, and also, based upon our values, our values, and also our values, as well as um, the stated direction that we want to go. If we choose a life path, so we choose a path that says, well, this is what I want, this is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to achieve doing it. Most of the time, we set out to do that with dogged determination, and usually with a set you and most times with a set course, with a course that we already set for ourselves. Usually there's a plan. Usually there's a plan in place. Usually we have plans in place to help us navigate, to help us move, to help us move, help us, get in a better position to be able to do things and do things right. So one of the things that we need to understand is that, even though we set our course, and I will and let me and I walk this back a little bit. One of the things I want us to understand, that even though we set our course, we're never prepared. We're almost often never prepared for what the what this what the uncharted waters of life will have for us. I repeat what I just said. Most of the times, we're never prepared for what the uncharted waters of life put in front of us. So a sobering thought. And I want to use my own experience to kind of to I want to use my own experiences to amplify this. I really want to use my I want to use my own experiences to amplify this. What I mean when I say that we that when I say the simple fact and say that we're not prepared. We that most of the times we're not prepared for what we're the light. Let me stop because I'm kind of rambling. So let me put this in a better perspective here. When I say that, and again, I'm using my personal experiences as the setup here. So when I was younger as a teenager, I when I was in high school, I wanted to be an electrical engineer. That was something something that I shot for, something that I wanted to do, something I had researched as a kid. That I researched as a kid. I didn't research it for the money. I researched it for what would I researched it for the challenge that it was going to bring to me, the challenge to my intellect and my problem solving skills and things of that nature. Now, with that being said, because of my grades, because of my grades, the likelihood of being accepted into a college that offered that type of studies, and the likelihood of me being going to a college that offered those types of studies, and to be in a, and to be accepted or work in a field and work in that field were the odds of that were very small. I mean, were because of my grades, the odds of that were very minuscule. So had to make an adjustment. Had to make an adjustment. So instead of focusing on wanting to go to the wanting to go to college to be an electrical engineer, I looked at I was enamored by the commercials that the enamored by as a kid, as a teenager, I was enamored by the commercials of of the armed forces, the commercials from the Navy, the Marines, the Army, the Air Force. Very rarely did I see Coast Guard commercials. A lot of Army Reserve commercials at the time. Um, so I was enamored by those commercials and stuff like that, and I made a conscious choice to talk to recruiters, man. Anytime they showed up at our high school, I talked to them. We talked to them. I me I talked to them. When I had the opportunity to talk to a Navy recruiter, we talked to him. I talked to him. We look me and my we look I looked at the options that were in front of me and made the choice to enlist in the Navy. You know, a choice that I don't regret to this day because I'm very thankful for the experiences, for the training and the experiences. Because a lot of what I learned was transferable. So just and I say that part of my life just to say that even as teenagers even as teens we learn to course correct. We learn to make choices that put us on a different path, on a different path of where we actually want to be. And I'll say this: it's easier for It's easier for children and teenage children. It's easier for children to course correct than it is for adults. It is for an adult. Why do I say that it's easier for? Why do I say that it's easier for a child than an adult? Because as a child, you're learning and you're growing and you're adapting. So most changes, whether so most changes, whether minor or major, don't most changes, whether they're minor or major, don't always affect you don't always affect you in a negative way. Some changes are so minuscule that you don't even know, that you kind of be like, I don't even know what that was. And then some changes are so major that, okay, you look at it and you analyze it and say, well, that was the best choice at the time, or the best choice at the time. And then some changes, you're just, as a child, you're just indifferent about. Now, as an adult, mind you, it's different, especially as an adult, because most of the time, because most of the times, 85% out of 100, most of us are pretty much set in our ways, and we don't want to make major we don't want to make major we don't want to make major changes like that, because making those changes will disrupt flow, will disrupt the flow, will disrupt the the equilibrium of what we are, who we are, and what we are. It may upset the equilibrium of what we're trying, of the balance of our life. um could upset the balance of our work life, could upset the balance of our home life, could upset the balance of us as fathers, or could upset the balance of us as fathers, or as mothers. So in most cases, we it's easier to make change. It's easier to make course corrections as a child than it is as an adult, because most of the times, 'cause a lot of these things, because most times, most of those course corrections are not are most a lot of those course corrections as a kid, a lot of those course corrections are not something that are not something that you necessarily have a say in. If you move, if your parents have to move to go to another city or go to another state, that's a course correction, because they're moved because something happened with the parent, or with the parents, or maybe one of the parents is active military, and then, they've done their time, and they have to move to another state. That's a course correct that's a course correction. That's a course correction for a kid. It's course correction for both the child and the parent, or parents. But in most cases, when it comes to those types of things, children are a lot more resilient. Excuse me, and a lot more adaptable to course corrections than adults are. And again, I'll use myself as an example. One of the major course corrections I had to learn. One of the major course corrections that I had to do, that I had to endure, I had to deal with, I had to endure, was, um, you know, losing a child, and it wasn't, and it was a major, it was a major course correction. And the reason I say it was a major course correction, because it literally stopped me where I was, and I had to stop and put a lot of things in perspective. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that on the move. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that being in motion. I couldn't do that while trying to while trying to maintain some semblance of life balance, some semblance of work balance, some semblance of just balance in my life period. I couldn't do that. So I had to stay still. I had to be still. And even that was impossible, because at the same time, At the same time, I still had to be I still had to be a father. I still had to be a husband. I still had to be a friend. And I still had to be a good, I still had to be a man. I still had to be a man. And I still had to be be a good coworker, be a good husband, be a good father, be a good stepfather, be a good brother, be a good son. So I still had to do those things. I still had to do those things. And I couldn't do and it's hard to make a course correction hard to make a course correction when you are when you're for when you have to continue, when you have to keep moving. And that was a major course correction. And it forced me it forced me to, number one, just be still, but it also forced me to slow down, which comes to one of the tenets that I want to talk about a bit. Course corrections will either stop us in our tracks, or they will force us to slow down. Let me repeat that. Course corrections will either force us to stop or force us to slow down. Well, Fred, why do you say? Well, Fred, why do you say that? I say that simply because a simple fact of a course correction in our lives is something usually comes when when something major happens, and we usually have to stop it. We usually have to either slow down or stop to make that correction, or we need to slow down to make that correction. What do I mean by stop? What do I mean by slow down? What I mean by stop, meaning what I mean by slowing down, I mean we're forced to kind of just slow our life slow. We're forced to kind of at least try making the attempt to try to slow our lives down, to see the course that we're traveling. And sometimes we have to come to a full stop and just look around and see where we are. And sometimes most and sometimes you and sometimes and this is the question that I ask myself: am I lost? Did I excuse me, did I not look at my life map correctly? And did I not get did I not get those map coordinates correct, right? Is this the right latitude? Is this the right latitude? Is this the right longitude? Am I heading in the right direction? Am I heading north? Am I heading north? Am I heading north? Am I heading south? Or am I heading east? Or am I heading west? Am I heading northwest? Am I heading southwest? Or am I heading due north or due south? We have to sometimes just stop and just be like and look around. And what I mean by look around, you have to look around our environment. Look around the environment that we're in. Look around the environment that we're in. Is the environment conducive to my growth? Is this environment conducive to my growth and development as an individual? Am I going to be able to thrive? Am I going to be able to thrive if I continue to try, if I continue to go on this course? Will I be able to succeed if I continue to travel this course? And it goes down to just looking around in your environment, looking around at the people that you are aligned with, the people that are in your immediate that occupy your orbit. Who look at who affect you that who affect you who affect you both directly and indirectly. You know, so you have to look around and be like, well, and sometimes you have to ask yourself, why are you here? Or better yet, how did you get here? What led to me being lost? And that's the larger question. What led to me being lost? Am I lost to the point to where I have no idea where I am? Am I lost to the point to where I can where I'm going is kind of like can't be recovered? Or did I just simply lose my way? Those are questions that you have to ask yourself. Because like I said before, a course correction is gonna force you to either slow down or stop altogether. When you're stopped and when you're slowing down, you're still looking around. You're still looking around at you're still looking around at the people that occupy your orbit. You're still looking around in the situations and circumstances that you're in. You're still looking around in the environment that you currently occupy. You're also looking at the people. You're also looking at where you are emotionally, where you are mentally, where you are physically. If the course that you're traveling is causing you mental strain and emotional anguish, and is bearing down, and is manifesting in bad health, then it's time to do some stuff. Time to think about correcting that course. So when we're stopped, or when we're slowing down, we have to be cognizant of what's around us, who's around us. I think if we're not cognizant of that, if we're not aware of that, we're not we're not acutely aware of that, then we'll never make the correct course change. The second tenet that I want to talk about is that course corrections. Course corrections normally happen due to a major life event, or either through a major life event, or the realization, or the realization that something needs to change. Maybe you lost a loved one. Um maybe you went through an abusive relationship. Maybe you've had a traumatic childhood. Maybe you dealt with everything that life literally has thrown at you, and you're tired. You're just tired. I'm speaking primarily to my brothers, but this also falls for women too. But what I'm saying tonight is primarily for my men. Maybe you've been through something that hurt, that that tore at you to the core, toward the very core of who you are. Course corrections don't always involve traumatic events. Sometimes you just get tired. Sometimes you just get sick and tired of being sick and tired. Sometimes you just get tired of traveling in the direction that you are going because of good and damn well the direction that you're going hasn't hasn't produced it, hasn't produced a lot of fruit. So sometimes and we look at as men and as women, we some that it's two of those things that can happen. One we we course correct because of a traumatic event or events, or two, we course correct because we haven't we just tired. We're just sick and tired of just being sick and tired. We're just sick and tired of just traveling in one direction in the direct and that path isn't giving isn't wasn't isn't so fruitful as it was as it looked like it was prior, as it looked like it was when you first decided to travel on it. And a lot of us make those course corrections because of those things. Because because another thing that I'll say that we and those when we make those these traumatic events and the things that we go through, I mean these things change us for either better or for worse. They change us emotionally, they change us mentally. Sometimes they even manifest. They even the change manifests physically too. And you get to a point to where I can't do this no more. I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to travel down this road anymore. Because you see, because as you travel down the road, and and I'll put and I'll equate the road to our experiences. As we travel down the road of our experiences, as we navigate the waters of life, we notice that we notice that the roads get darker. That sometimes if there's barely light on this, those roads are bare or either dimly or not lit at all. If we're traveling, if and like I said, whether it's the road of life we travel or the waters of life that we travel, we both navigate them both. You realize that as you travel on the road of life or the waters of life, you realize that get rougher. The seas gets run. The waters get rougher. The waters are troubled more. Um, the water becomes the water's a lot murkier. The water's a lot murkier. The water's deeper. And sometimes you find yourself fighting more against the current instead of you find yourself more traveling against the current than you are going with the current. And it's the same thing on the road. Like the roads are dark. The road is either dimly lit or not lit at all, and and it's difficult to see the way, difficult to see the ways, difficult to see things in front of you because you can't see anything in front of you, and you have no idea whether you're going to run into a wall or you're going to run into a wall or a barrier or another vehicle. And those rough seas and those dark roads are the representation of our experiences, representation of the totality of our experiences, the experiences our experiences that we felt that we experienced as kids, and the experiences that we continue to have as adults. So those rough seas and those and that those rough seas and those darker those darker roads, they're representative of our experiences. And sometimes we realize that we've been traveling down the wrong road for quite some time. Oh, we've been navigating we've been navigating this ocean, these seas for a long time. So course correction does come from we make course corrections due to the experiences that we have. So, like I said, sometimes we get tired of being sick and tired, and sometimes we course correct because of the traumatic experiences that we've dealt with. And it gets to a point that where I don't want to deal with this traumatic experience anymore. So what am I going to do to improve? What am I going to do to improve? What am I going to do to course correct and get back on, get back to where I need to be? Which leads to the third thing I want to talk about. Correcting your course isn't course correction isn't always about being on the proverbial right track. It's not about being on the proverbial right track. Everybody thinks that when you correct, I won't say everybody, but some people think that when you correct your course, you're getting back on the quote unquote right track. There's no such thing as a right track. So when you correct your course, you're not putting yourself on the proverbial right track. Basically, when you're course correcting, you're putting yourself in a you're correcting a course to put yourself in a better position to navigate life. So there's no, I mean, and there's no such thing as as a quote unquote right track. And I say that because what is in this word, this phrase, the right track, it's very subjective. And I say when I say it's subjective, it's very subjective because what may be the right track for me may not be the right track for you. What may be the correct course for me may not be the correct course for you, and vice versa. So the right track is very subjective. It is most definitely subject to what we interpret or what we feel is the right track for us, is the quote unquote right track for us. So I want people to kind of understand. I want people to kind of not to necessarily toss away the thought process of of the quote unquote right track, but I want people to understand that phrase is very subjective. It is subject to it is subject to interpretation. It's subject to individual interpretation. And it isn't about being on the proverbial right track. It's actually course correction is understanding that, hey, I'm lost, or I feel that I'm lost, or I feel that I'm so I'm quote unquote on the wrong I'm quote unquote on the wrong path is subjective as well. The phrase "the wrong path" is subjective, is subjective as well. So kind of I want to say that we want to be careful when we use these phrases, but at the same time, I think when we say that I'm on the wrong path, if I say that I'm on quote unquote the wrong path, I'm saying that as it being relative to me. And I think when people say that they're on the wrong path, it's relative to them. But it's not about putting yourself on the proverbial right path. Is number one, understanding what happened, understanding what that is, that what happened to us, what happened to me that put me on this course. What did I do, or what did I endure, or what were my experiences that put me on this course? Now, what do I need to do to put myself on a more advantageous path? What things do I need to do? What aspects of correcting my course do I need to do to put myself on the right path? And it course correction, it involves us being analytical. It involves us being analytical to our situations. It involves us being analytical to our circumstances. It involves us to be analytical to our consequences and our accountability. Correcting the course isn't just about correcting your course isn't about just just turning left or turning right and then just going in that turning left, right. It's not about going north, south, east, or west and thinking that course is going to be the course. We have to be analytical about this, because when we're talking about correcting a course, we're talking about changing. We're talking about making a change of literal change of direction in real time. That's basically what course correction is. And when it's something that can be it's something that can be it's it's something that they talk about when they talk about flying airplanes. It's something they talk about when they talk about operating boats. Course corrections are things that happen, or things that happen in real time. The more important question is, what are you course correcting from, or what are you course correcting for? Is there debris? Is there debris in the road? Is there something? Is there debris? Is there something in the water that's did you pick up something did your sonar pick up something in the water that's to where you need to where you need to maybe shift left or shift right, or maybe just turn around altogether? It's about analyzing the terrain, and about analyzing, what I mean the terrain, I mean analyzing our life, and making the proper corrections to say, hey, well, let me just, okay, I see this in front of me. Let me slow down and approach this a little slower, much slower. Or better yet, if I slow down and I see that this isn't good for me, let me just either move left, move right, or turn around altogether. Course correction isn't about it's not about retreating. It's about understanding where you're going, and making the proper adjustments. Because, like I said, course corrections are adjustments to your are real time adjustments made to your path. Course corrections are not about the right or wrong path, or not about taking the right or wrong path. You're taking the path that's gonna better get you to your destination. And a lot of people look at that, and they look at that with disdain, and I won't say disdain. And I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna sound controversial, and there might be some pushback from this. Um, so if there is any disagreement, man, if there's a disagreement in that. Um, if you guys are watching this right now, or even if you watch this on a replay, just drop a comment in the chat. I I honestly think that is a lot more difficult for men to course correct than it is for women to course correct. There's a reason why I say that. Because for women, it's a lot easier for them to correct their course because they're gonna look at that and they're gonna be like, okay, well, that's the wrong way to go. Let me just turn around and go the way I know I'm supposed to go. For us as men, and I'll say, and I'm gonna make this exclusive to me. For me, as a man, usually course correction is something that I know that I don't want to do because I feel that this is the path that I want to go, and I feel that I'm going to endure this path whether come hell or high water. But then usually, and again, I'm making this exclusive to me. Usually, by the time I realize it's the wrong path, it's already too late. By the time I realize it's the wrong path, it's usually it's already too late, and I'm running towards what I feel is safe harbor at full speed, and not making adjustments for wind, not making adjustments for landmarks or any of that. So I'm running in the harbor at full speed, not knowing not knowing that I'm about to destroy my boat, not knowing that I'm about to wreak all kind of hell in this on this harbor. We normally And again, this is exclusive to me. Normally, when I course corrected, when I course corrected, especially in the last couple of years, usually when I course corrected, it was too late. The damage had already been done. Now, maybe the last, I say maybe when I course corrected over the last maybe 3 or 4 years, maybe three, I say 3 to 5 years. Usually when I made a course correction, it was too late. The damage had already been done. I had already ran roughshod over in the harbor, and just it literally not only did I destroy my boat, I destroyed the harbor because I didn't make the necessary corrections. I misjudged the wind. I'm coming in too hot, maybe the harbor wasn't as deep as I thought it was, and it was and maybe the harbor wasn't as deep as I had thought it was going to be, and I ran myself aground. But now, maybe in the last maybe 2 years, much more analytical in my course corrections. And yes, I said corrections. A lot of people think that a lot of people think that when in life that you course correct once and that's it. No. Course corrections, and this leads to the final thing I want to talk about. Course corrections are not a one time or singular thing. We are constantly changing. We're constantly course correcting in our lives. We're constantly doing that because we could because we because we're because we are traveling, because we're navigating the uncharted waters of life. We're making changes to our course in life in real time. So we're always making changes. We're always making real time changes to our course. And if I want to amplify the point even more, really, like, sometimes a lot of our course corrections aren't even our corrections. I think For the majority of my life right now, um, a lot of the course corrections that I made have been God ordered corrections, have been God ordered corrections. And this is part of the final thing that I want to talk that I want to say. When we make these course corrections, we gotta have God we gotta have God in this, y'all. The reason I say that we have to have God in it is because when you don't have, you know, you don't have our Lord and Savior, you don't have God in these course corrections. Most of the time we're gonna be walking into a dead end. We're gonna be running into a dead end, or we're gonna run our ship aground. God will always lead us to safe harbor. And God will always lead us to safe harbor. And we will know what safe harbor is. When we make these course corrections, we have to involve God in them. We just can't make course corrections willy nilly, because when we do that, we we stand the risk of not being able to. We stand the risk of not making the right corrections at the right moment, and we end up being lost, or we end up being lost, or we end up just being stagnant and just being like, well, being stuck in one place and like, I don't know what to do. I don't know whether to go left or to go right, because when we don't put God in those choices, that course correction, we end up being just like we end up just standing still and not being able to set ourselves, not being able to launch ourselves back out. And sometimes our course corrections force us into safe harbor. They force us into harbor because we're not because based upon they force us into harbor to to repair and refit repair and refit our ship, because all that time we've been out there traveling and sailing these seas, and and our boat's been taking this battery and this beat, and we were not equipped for it. We were not equipped for it. We weren't emotionally equipped for it. We weren't mentally equipped for it. We weren't physically equipped for it. This goes double for my brothers, because a lot of the times for us, we we don't navigate these waters well. Yeah, I said it. I said it. We don't navigate these waters. We don't navigate these waters well. And I can say that from my own personal experience. I didn't navigate these waters. I didn't navigate these waters well, and I don't claim to navigate them well. And I don't claim to navigate them well today, August 16th, 2023. I'm still not good at navigating these waters of life. I'm 51 years old. I am not afraid to say it, and I will admit this. I'm 51 years old. I'm still navigating the waters of my life. And there are times when I launch out from the harbor that I'm in, and I'm trying out and I roll and I go on these seas, and these seas get rougher and rougher, and the boat that I'm in gets battered and beat and tossed to and fro. There have been times where God has guided me to safe harbor. There have been times that God has guided me to safe harbor, and it's His way of saying that, son, You shouldn't have went. You shouldn't have went out there in the you shouldn't have went out there in the condition that you're in. You shouldn't have went out there in the condition that you were in, knowing that you were going to get battered and bruised, and eventually you were going to be lost at sea. So there are times where God were doing in our course in that course correction. God will correct our course and send us to, and send us to safe harbor, because He knows that sometimes we're just not equipped for that just yet. We're not equipped to go. We're not equipped to go out into. We're not equipped to launch out into the deep waters. Not yet. So sometimes He does. He puts us to safe harbor. Nah, son. No, no, son. No, no, son. No, son. No, daughter. I can't let you go out there just yet. Your boat's not ready. It hasn't been properly it hasn't been properly fitted to deal with to deal with the rigors, and the stresses of what you're gonna be of what you're gonna be traveling through on these seas. I, I'm not gonna let you launch out. Not gonna let you launch out to the deep and you not be prepared. I'm not gonna let you navigate these waters and you're not prepared. And you don't have the proper tools. You don't have the proper tools and the proper way guidance to know when to course correct. And so, and most of the times we know when to course. We know when we need to course correct, but most of the times, we don't do it because we feel that the path we're going on, the path that we're going on is the right path for us to go on. Because we've been sailing this particular ocean for the longest time, and we think that we know this ocean inside and out like the back of our hands, and that's not true. That's not true. The waters of life, the water of the ocean of life is very as unpredictable. Is very unpredictable, and it has an ebb and flow. Has a very unpredictable ebb and flow because we don't know at any given moment what life is going to throw at us. We don't know at any given moment what experiences what we're going to experience. We don't know at any given moment if if parts of our traumatic past come up to us and come up and cause us to have an anxiety attack, or excuse me, or put us into depression, or bring out a moment to where a PTSD moment. We don't know that. So at any given moment, we sail these seas of life. We can be exposed to a myriad of things. And let me tell you, going right down into the open ocean, if you're out in the open, if anybody that's a sailor or anybody that's been on a boat, whether it's a luxury liner, whether it's a warship, whether any type of ship, you know, at any given, you know that out there you are exposed. You are exposed. You're exposed to the elements. You're subject to nature. You're subject to the elements. Same thing as we navigate these waters of life. We're exposed. We're exposed by the elements of our experiences. We're exposed by the elements of our emotional, and our mental and our physical states. And these things have these things have an effect. They have a large and profound effect. And we have to learn how to properly course correct. Proper course correction comes with knowing knowing who God is in your life. Proper course correction knowing is knowing who you are and whose you are. Proper course correction means understanding what means slowing down and understanding where you are at the current moment in time, and analyzing who you are with, analyzing the people that occupy your orbit, understanding understanding the reasons to why you're being battered, you're being battered and tossed to and fro in this ocean. And I'm gonna tell you, knowing who God is in your life is the difference between finding safe harbor or being lost at sea. Excuse me. There's a poem I wrote. Excuse me. And it's a poem I wrote, and I want to share it to you. I want to share it with you guys now. It's called Navigation. I want to share this poem with you guys before I get up out of here. Before I get up out of here. And it goes like this. We navigate the waters for our loved ones, but we never navigate the waters for ourselves. We are the vanguards for other people, but are never the vanguards for ourselves. We tell other people that they need to course correct, but we never correct our own course. We smile for other people, but yet we never smile for ourselves. We become the shoulders that people cry on, but we cry alone. We help others navigate their suffering, but we suffer in silence. Who's there to help us navigate this world? Who can help us plot the correct course? Who's there to help us find safe harbor when we need navigation? This poem kind of speaks a lot to the subject that I wrote. This poem that I wrote speaks a lot to the subject matter tonight, because a lot of times we a lot of times as human beings, and especially a lot of times as human beings, we help other people navigate their difficult times. We help our friends and our family find their way. But yet when it's time for us to find our way, there's no guy, there's no beacon of light or no guide for us. We always tell people how to correct their courses, but we never truly correct our own. We're always navigating the waters for our loved ones because we want to make sure that they get to safe harbor. But we never navigate our own. We never navigate our own waters, and we end up being lost at sea most of the time. I want everybody that's listening. I want everybody that's watching, listening to this to think about that. I want you to think about that. I want you to think on the fact that course correction is something that we continually do in real time. I want you to think about that. I want you to think on the fact that part of that course correction is understanding and knowing who God is in your life. And that guy, and also knowing that sometimes course correction meaning God is guiding, meaning sometimes course correction can mean that God's guiding you to safe harbor and telling you no. Not today. Your boat's not strong enough. Your boat's not sturdy enough. Your boat's not stout enough. Your boat needs to be repaired and refitted. Cause because God will tell you the path that I'm taking you, that I'm gonna take you through, the path, the waters that you gonna have to navigate, the waters that I'm gonna have you navigate is gonna require that your boat is sturdy, your boat is strong, your boat is stout, your boat can handle the rigors and the beating that the that the that this ocean of life is about to give it. And when you do arrive at the harbor that you're supposed to arrive at, that that boat, even though that boat will be damaged and it'll be beat to and fro. But the whole while you were navigating, the whole while you're traveling these seas, that boat never sunk. That boat did not sink. I want y'all to think on that tonight. Meditate on that tonight as you go through this. As I close out this check in tonight. Want to close out with a couple of announcements, y'all. Um, First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for who tuned in and who watched. I most definitely appreciate that. For those of you who are going to catch the replay, it will be on Spotify for distribution to other audio streaming platforms. If you want to catch the replay, it will be on YouTube at the conclusion of this particular episode. Um, we are on the road to 100 subscribers, so please do me a favor, check out our content. If the content resonates with you, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you like and subscribe and hit that bell notification to be notified of when next time we present ourselves up here for you. Uh, as I always like to say, it's always a pleasure to come up here to get in front of this microphone and to get in front of this camera and talk to my brothers and my sisters about subjects that are dear to me. And I hope that it's my hope and my prayer that somebody got something out of this. Again, it's my hope and my prayer that someone got something out of this. Um, that they'll be able to look at themselves and look at what they do and how where they are in the aspect of themselves. So with that being said, a couple of announcements I want to throw at you guys, man. So my life has destiny. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow for My Life That Has Destiny podcast. Coco 50 Quint Jones will be up here live and direct, um, doing what they do best, and just the one thing I will always say with those guys, you never know what's gonna happen or what may pop up with them two ladies. So make sure that you tune in because they've been putting it down with fire ass content, as well as my sister LSG with critical conversations and girl chat too, and girl chat weekly. Man, look, these ladies are putting it down, making it happen, and just putting out fire content, man, for you guys to enjoy. And then, like I said, the one thing I said before, I'm gonna be more intentional with these check-in shows because I feel that these are needed. And I feel that they're needed because there are a lot of things that need to be talked about, that need to be addressed as number one for us as men, but also for us as people, as men and women as a whole. Um, so I'm gonna keep throwing out this fire content as far as the check-in shows. Friday. Oh my God, look at here. Verbal Soul Volume 2, The Voice of My People is in full effect, man. So make sure you guys tune into that because I got some fire poets and we gonna be spitting out some fire pieces. Um, so make sure you guys tune into that, man. Let's go. We gonna have a good time. We gonna have a good time. That we gonna have a good time Friday, man. And also just want to let you guys know there's the couple other things that we got going on, man. So the 25th of August. Look here, man. I got my sister Keeley Moore in the building. We're gonna be talking about her new book, her new ebook, finding my identity. We're gonna talk about the opportunity to direct a play from a good friend of mine. But we're also gonna talk about a short film that she has, a short film that she's looking at, she's directing, and we'll talk a little bit about, we'll talk a little bit or a lot about that. So make sure you guys tune in for that, man. And also, we got some great content coming for you guys. So make sure you guys keep your ears to the ground on us because we're trying to we making it happen, y'all. We're making all of our social platforms: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, social media platforms, whether that be Facebook, whether that be Instagram or whatnot, or whether that be YouTube or whatnot. So, and also follow us on our webpage, trailblazerradio.net. But with that being said, man, I want to thank everybody that tuned in to this particular episode of the Check In. Um, like my sis Coco 50 says, I love y'all to life and I love y'all to live. The three things I always like to say when I close out any program that I love on each other. And last but definitely not least, this is a crazy, crazy world out here, y'all. So above all things, please, 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 and please, y'all be safe out here, man. Please be safe out here. I love y'all. I will see y'all on the next one.